Last time in the Championship, it was 6 correct results, no correct scores. It's okay, but it's not great. However, it's the final week. There are some dead rubbers here. There are quite a few games that still matter. The dead rubbers I'm going to get out of the way first, because there's no point me going on for ages about a game between two teams that ultimately are playing for absolutely nothing. So I will skip through them, but it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. Blues and Ipswich are the two teams to really focus on, because if Ipswich get a point against Huddersfield, automatic promotion is resolved. Blues, if they lose or draw, pretty much down with a draw, a loss would be definite, and then that's sorted. So really, we're hoping that maybe there can be a bit of controversy, but it's going to be interesting to see how this weekend goes. I'm praying that Blues can get the win they need. It still might not be enough, but I really hope we stay up. Make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get into the predictions. Now, the 6 games that don't really matter too much, so we're going to get those out of the way first. Starting with Coventry v QPR. Coventry have been in poor form recently. QPR have had a brilliant turnaround under Cifuentes. I think that will be a 1-1 draw. Middlesbrough v Watford. Again, Middlesbrough in good form, but it's obviously too late. But they've been quite patchy this season. However, them being at home against Watford, I think they'll get the job done and win 2-1. Rotherham v Cardiff. We know Rotherham were relegated a while ago. Cardiff mid-table. But I can see Rotherham for some reason bowing out with a point. So I'll go 1-1. Stoke v Bristol City. Now, Stoke could really have been in trouble, but they picked up a brilliant win over Southampton last time out, and that secured their safety. Bristol City, obviously been safe for a while, in decent form at the moment as well. I'll go for a 1-1 draw there. Swansea v Millwall is our final game of, nothing really to play for. Both teams in good form actually, quite a few wins recently. I just think Swansea being the home side will get the job done, so I'll go for them to win it 2-1. Now let's get into the fixtures that really matter. We start with Leeds against Southampton, and that Leeds loss to QPR was massive. The 4-0 really ended their chances, considering Ipswich have been very good since, of getting the automatic promotion spots. They do need Ipswich to go and lose to Huddersfield. Let's deal with Leeds first. They need a win against Southampton. Southampton have lost 3 in a row. I do kind of have a feeling though that it won't be going their way in the other game. They might be ahead, and then I can just see them kind of resigning to their fate and realising it's not going to work. And then Southampton snatching a point that doesn't matter to them, but I will go in this one for a 2-2 draw. So, if it is a 2-2 draw, and again, I do believe that it will be because of Ipswich being ahead and comfortable, then that would mean Ipswich go up automatically. But again, Ipswich against Huddersfield, I don't see a way that Ipswich don't get a point, and that's all they need. I think Ipswich will top off a wonderful, wonderful season with a comfortable win. I'll go for a 2-0, and if that happens, a massive congratulations to Ipswich for doing back-to-back promotions to the Premier League. Next up, we'll go to West Brom for their fixture against Preston. Now, I could have gone to Leicester, but they have already won the league. West Brom v Preston is going to be interesting, because West Brom, to secure playoffs, only need a point against Preston. And they might not even need that. If Hull fail to beat Plymouth, West Brom will have playoffs. West Brom, poor form, 3 losses in a row, but at home against a Preston side with nothing to play for that are also in poor form. I will go for West Brom to get the point that they need in a 1-1 draw. We're going to go on to the relegation battle now. Now, I know that Hull are important, but with my prediction of West Brom getting a point, Hull cannot get playoffs from that. So we're going to go for the relegation. Leicester v Blackburn. Now Leicester have won the title. Does that mean that they will rest? I think they'll want to go out and win in their last home game in the Championship, in front of their fans, have a trophy lift, all that sort of stuff. So I think Leicester will go for it. Might be a bit sloppy, but Blackburn need a point for survival, and I've got a feeling they won't get it. However, a lot of stuff has to go against them, even if they lose, for them to go down. I'll go for Leicester to win 2-1. Next, on to Sunderland v Sheffield Wednesday. Now, Sunderland have nothing to play for. They've been very poor since Christmas. I believe only Rotherham have picked up less points than Sunderland since Christmas, or since the new year. So, very poor from Sunderland. Sheffield Wednesday, they are one step away from pulling off a great escape. It was so poor from them at the start of the season under Cisco Munoz after those 12 games, but they're looking like surviving now. Like Blackburn, they only need a point, and I've got a feeling they're going to go out in style and get all three. Sheffield Wednesday to win and be safe, 2-0. So we move on to the big two fixtures. We're going to start it off with Blues v Norwich, just because we will then see what Plymouth need to do. This is going to be such a tough game. Under Rowett so far, Blues have sold out 3 of the 4 home games. The only one that we didn't sell out was against Cardiff in midweek, so kind of expected as it was a midweek late game. But our last game at St Andrews was that brilliant 3-0 win over Coventry. Before that, at St Andrews on a weekend, it was the 1-0 win over Preston and the UB40 concert. So a brilliant few games at home on weekends for Blues. Is that going to mean anything? Well, Norwich, they've pretty much secured playoffs. The only way they don't get it is by losing this game, and there'd need to be a pretty drastic swing between the Blues-Norwich game and the Hull Plymouth game of 7 goals. I'm not sure who scored more, so it could come down to that. But basically, I think they're 99% in. Blues, what does that mean? Norwich are going to rest players? I think maybe they'll rest some for the playoffs. If there's anyone slightly injured, they're not going to risk them. And I've got a feeling Blues have been very good defensively at home. I've got a feeling that could continue. For some reason, something is telling me a clean sheet and Blues to win 1-0. Whether that be early, late, I'm not sure. But I've got a feeling Blues are going to win this game 1-0. That would take them above Plymouth. And according to my results, it would take us above Blackburn as well. Let's see what I think Plymouth are going to do. So Plymouth versus Hull is now a massive game if what I said happens. If it doesn't, if Blues don't win, Plymouth are basically safe unless they lose by 5 to Hull. Now Plymouth, not in very good form. They were awful under Foster, and then he went, and they're not doing great. They have missed a few opportunities. That loss against Millwall is quite big, because if Blues had won on the final day and Plymouth had drawn, that would mean that Plymouth would still be safe. However, because Plymouth lost it late on, Plymouth now need to win if Blues win, or they will be down. And to be honest, this isn't even from a biased perspective. I think Blues have got a few things going for them. The fact that Norwich have 99% secured playoffs and will probably rest players, and that Blues have been very good at home recently and pretty much all season. We're 23rd in the table on away form, we're top half on home form. We've been very solid at the back recently in our home games. So there's a few things going for Blues. For Plymouth, there's not much. They're playing a Hull that are chasing, and if West Brom aren't winning, or maybe losing, Hull will go for it. Hull are going to try and put as much pressure on as possible. The only concern is if West Brom go a couple of goals up early on, Hull will know that their dream of getting playoffs is no more, and then they might take their foot off the gas. However, I think Hull will win this. I think they'll score some goals. They've got some brilliant attacking players. So I'm going to go for Hull to win 3-0. Now, a quick recap of what will happen if my predictions are there. West Brom and Norwich would secure playoffs. West Brom just about with that draw at Preston. For promotion, Ipswich would go up automatically, meaning Leeds would then take on Norwich in the playoffs, and West Brom would take on Southampton. In the relegation battle, it would be Plymouth down in 22nd, Blackburn in 21st, Blues in 20th, and Sheffield Wednesday 19th with a brilliant escape, as well as Blues with a good escape considering the position we find ourselves in the final day. I'm hoping it happens. If Blues do go down, I will be gutted. However, the one caveat to all of this is that if we went down with our previous owners, I don't see a way back up, and I think that we'd be at massive risk of going into administration. However, under the new owners, if we go down, it would be awful, but I think we would have the whereabouts to bounce back. We'd spend money, we'd still continue this whole project of building a stadium, and I think that we're in a much better position now than we would be under the previous ownership. So yeah, don't want to go down, of course, but I've kind of resigned myself to that fate just so that if it does happen, I can't be too disappointed. The season started so well, it's ended so horribly. It would be horrible to go down, but let's hope that the players pull together and get that final result on the last day to drag us over the line. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'm sorry, Plymouth fans, for my prediction, but I just can't see you getting anything against Hull, or, well, you'd need to win, and I can't see that happening at all. Up the Blues.